Let's bring in Trudy McIntosh as the Energy Minister to notice to stop panic buying fuel. Trudy, what's he had to say?
Yeah, fascinating to hear from Chris Bowen today, Kieran. A pretty snap press conference from the Energy Minister. In essence, it seemed from him like a stern message he wanted to deliver to the Australian people. He was telling them, don't panic buy. He called it un-Australian to go out and buy a jerry can at Bunnings and try and stock up on fuel. It's reminiscent of the message we heard from the then Prime Minister Scott Morrison about toilet paper at the start of the COVID pandemic. That was running out because of panic purchasing. This more serious, given how crucial fuel is to keeping Australia going when it comes to transport, farming, and just everyday Australians trying to get around. Chris Bowen pointing to what we've seen yesterday coming out of our refineries, 762 million litres of petrol and diesel unlocked as part of the strategic reserve. Now, it sounds like a lot. It amounts to around 6 days of supply, but the message from Chris Bowen today, people shouldn't be rushing out and trying to get as much fuel as they can, that it will get through this, in his words, if we do it together.
How long, Minister, before the government has to consider fuel rationing?
Well, as I've said, what we want is Australians to buy as much fuel as they need, not more, not less. That is the best answer for everyone. Now, we're in discussions with the states, of course, about forward planning. And if Australians respond in the spirit of all coming together and not panic buying, then that maximises our chances of getting through this situation. People going to Bunnings and buying out all the Bunnings jerry cans, that is unhelpful, that is un-Australian.
Good day, Australia. The government spends a week telling you there is no fuel crisis, then admits there is a national crisis, then cannot sign the paperwork to fix it, and now Chris Bowen has a stern message for Australians who are panic-buying fuel. The audacity, the absolute audacity. Welcome to the Australian Mind. If you are not already subscribed, do it now and hit that notification bell, because honestly, this story just keeps getting better and it is all being covered right here. Right, let us talk about this, because it deserves to be unpacked properly. Sky News senior political reporter Trudy McIntosh reported that Climate Change and Energy Minister Chris Bowen delivered what she described as a stern message to Australians who have been panic-buying fuel. Now, on the surface, asking people not to panic buy is a reasonable thing to do. Panic buying does make supply situations worse. That part is true. When everyone rushes to fill every jerry can they own simultaneously, it creates artificial demand spikes that strain distribution networks and leave genuine users, farmers, truckies, emergency services, unable to access what they need. So yes, in theory, asking people to stay calm and not rush the Bowser is sensible advice. But here's the problem, and it is a rather large one that the minister seems to have conveniently overlooked while preparing his stern face. You do not get to create the conditions for panic and then scold the public for panicking. Let us revisit the timeline one more time, because it is genuinely important context for understanding why Australians are filling up their cars, their jerry cans, and presumably anything else that holds liquid. On Tuesday, Bowen was not even acknowledging a problem existed. On Thursday, it was a national crisis. In between those 2 days, Australians watched their energy minister go from dismissive reassurance to emergency declaration without any coherent explanation of what changed, what the plan was, or how long the situation would last. When people do not have reliable information from the people who are supposed to provide it, they do what humans have done throughout history. They protect themselves and their families. They fill the tank. They buy an extra container. They do not know exactly how bad things are going to get because the minister who is supposed to know was not telling them the truth on Tuesday, so why would they trust the reassurances being offered now? Panic buying is not a character flaw. It is a rational response to information uncertainty. And information uncertainty, in this case, was manufactured by the very minister now wagging his finger at the public. There is also something deeply revealing about the instinct to deliver a stern message to ordinary Australians rather than to the supply chain failures, the policy gaps, and the years of inadequate fuel reserve management that left Australia with less than 30 days of petrol consumption in reserve. Farmers in regional communities struggling to access diesel did not create this vulnerability. Truckies absorbing impossible fuel cost increases did not design Australia's dangerously thin reserve policy. Everyday Australians filling up their cars at the first sign of a shortage did not spend years ignoring expert warnings about our energy security exposure. But sure, stern message for the public. That will fix it. This is a pattern worth recognizing because it is not unique to this moment. When governments fail to manage a crisis effectively, the temptation is to redirect attention toward public behavior rather than policy failure. It's a classic move. Instead of answering the hard questions, why were reserves this low? Why was there no plan ready? Why did it take until Thursday to admit what Tuesday's constituents were already experiencing on the ground? Shift the frame. Make the story about panic buyers. Make the public the problem. It's politically convenient. It's also completely unfair to Australians who are simply trying to protect themselves in the absence of clear, credible, consistent information from their government. The stern message Australians actually needed was delivered weeks and months before this crisis hit, a message that said, "We have identified our fuel security vulnerabilities. Here is our reserve strategy. Here is our supply chain contingency. Here is how we will communicate with you if a global shock affects our supply." That message never came. What came instead was Tuesday's dismissal, Thursday's emergency declaration, the unsigned paperwork, the 17-person committee, and now a minister looking sternly into the camera at the people his government failed to prepare. Chris Bowen does not need a stern message for the public. He needs a mirror. Thanks for watching, Australia. See you in the next one.